I thought it was actually a really nice thing. Political differences aside, Gavin and I thought that was very cool. So we were like, okay, so she's involved with some sort of new lefty Make-A-Wish Foundation. Maybe someday we'll get involved with that if stars align for us. But she's got Jimmy Dore was right about her, which opened up a huge can of worms because Gavin came in with the all-time banger. Gavin, take it away. Let the people give you your flowers.
Oh God, yeah. So I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. It's like we don't love AOC. You guys just heard us criticizing her, saying that she's been an ineffective leader, that she's annoying and smug and comes off as condescending, even when she's making points that are low-key accurate. So no fan of AOC. We're not here to defend AOC necessarily, but why do you got to randomly pull Jimmy Dore out of your back pocket to make a point about that? Why do you have to elevate someone who's like way more cringy than AOC in order to dunk on AOC, right? Someone who's literally transitioned in the last month or so into being a Trump supporter. Someone who said that Donald Trump was far to the left of Kamala Harris because he brought RFK Jr. on his campaign, and they began to lie and gaslight people about how actually we're in favor of free speech, even though Elon Musk is our biggest donor, right? And we're anti-war, even though we're taking money from the Adelsons and promising to let Netanyahu finish the job. Just blatant, disgusting hypocrisy, right? Same people that put Julian Assange in prison. We can go on and on and on. But that's who Jimmy Dore is supporting. And that's who Jimmy Dore is turning his channel into a propaganda machine for. Yet somehow he's the right guy to cite when you want to make the point about AOC being a shit lib or whatever. That's the road you want to go down. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. Normally, I wouldn't really say anything because, you're entitled to cite whoever you want. If you really feel like, Jimmy Dore articulated how the fraud squad sold out before anyone else. Okay, whatever. That's fine. But the elephant in the room here that I, had to point out, I just couldn't resist, is that guess who was talking shit on Jill Stein way before AOC? And by the way, way before us. Way before myself and Zach. It was Jimmy Dore, who apparently was right about AOC, but he wasn't right about Jill Stein. He was wrong about Jill Stein, but we're going to ignore that. We're going to act like that never happened. And we're just going to isolate his commentary on AOC, trot it out when necessary, and completely ignore his criticisms of Jill Stein, some of which are in this clip, but this clip doesn't even scratch the surface. This guy's been going off on Jill Stein for a year now, disrespecting her, making up insane conspiracy theories about how Peter Dow is a Democratic infiltrator and, came in to infiltrate the Green Party's campaign, yada, yada, yada. It's been unhinged, but all of that gets ignored by Briahna. All of that gets ignored until I bring it up, and then we're going to take a look at Bri's response to that, which is pretty funny too.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to play this clip from Jimmy Dore? Because Green Party. This is the whole shtick for Jimmy Dore, and everybody has seen the writing on the wall for months and months and months and months and months. What he does is he constantly attacks the progressive left under the veneer that he is a progressive leftist himself, and he's just so disappointed by how they're performing, and then constantly praises right-wingers, right? Because apparently he's never ashamed of how they're behaving. And we're gonna get to take a look at just why might Briahna be dipping her toes into the Jimmy Dore verse of YouTube instead of holding her head high and making reasonable content for a living. But yeah, let's play this clip from the Doremeister.
Hey, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Jill Stein announces third-party bid for president. Miss Stein will seek the Green Party nomination. A spokesman said her last two campaigns with the party were unsuccessful. This is sad. How bad do RFK Jr. and Cornel West have to be doing for Jill Stein to think she has a shot? Am I right? But America loves familiarity. We love seeing our favorite old faces from before over and over and over and over and effing over again. Nothing we want more than someone we rejected multiple times popping up again like a whack-a-mole. She doesn't mention COVID at all. She doesn't mention forced medical treatments. She doesn't mention lockdowns that crushed 41% of Black-owned businesses. She doesn't mention any. So that it's like they're just memory holing that because they were on board for that 100%. Hey, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Crazy, so what? That's obviously, Jimmy says some things that are true, some things that aren't true. Even though he's such a fountain of comedy, he has to read from a script 3 inches from his face, even though he's just making blase talking points, right? But anyway, Gavin, let's go ahead and see what response you garnered with that, just mild inquisition. Oh, are you talking about Jill Stein or AOC? We're just curious. We're looking for some clarity. Because let's see, let's get this guy back up in here. Boom.
Yeah, so let's take a look and see how Briahna responded to this question. Because again, I'm genuinely interested. Why is Jimmy Dore allowed to relentlessly, savagely, aggressively, and unfairly criticize Jill Stein using some of the exact same attacks, by the way? Why is he allowed to do that for a year, but AOC can't? She's not allowed to make some of the very same criticisms that Jimmy made, the guy you're giving all this credit to. So let's take a look. Brie says, "You've been such a disappointment. You can excuse yourself from my mentions and my esteem."
Why did she talk to us like she's the Queen of England? What a douchebag. I was like, what the fuck? I read this and I cackled out loud, bro. I cackled out loud. I almost snorted. It was hilarious. And not only that, guys, not only that, she's like, you can excuse yourself from our mentions. Bro, you were crying in our mentions 3 days ago. She was in our replies days ago when we had one mildly critical tweet about third-party supporters. She was like, really? Really? And we didn't even dignify it with a response, because I was like, I know everything that you're going to say about the third parties. I know that you're going to say it doesn't matter what they do because you hate the Democrats. And I know that you're going to say that you can't support that, right? But you have absolutely no backbone to call out Jimmy Dore, because, guys, I've been sitting on this for a long time. I think Briahna might be one of the most audience captured individuals on left YouTube, guys. And it's like clockwork. Okay. I think she thought that people would just come like fawning over her after she got fired from the Hill, but she didn't take a look at what happened to Katie Halper. Like, you basically agreed to be a shill for a propaganda outlet until they decided that they were done with you too. And then you acted all surprised. And look, you did make a great case for Palestine. We gave you your flowers, but now it's time for you to, for the chickens to come home to roost. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, everybody. This is crazy stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at why might Briahna be interested in poaching some of Jimmy Dore's audience. Well, it's because things aren't going well over on the Bad Faith Pod. I imagine a lot of people have canceled their Patreons. She doesn't make it public anymore. It used to be public. She used to be very proud of how much money she was making on Patreon. Now, not so proud of it, right? Anyway, this is the kind of numbers that a show that is mildly more successful than the Vanguard does, but she doesn't do live streams, so she's not generating revenue that way. She's falling deeply out of relevance. I mean, like a 20K clip, a 16K clip, an 8.8K clip. Like, we've never been, Harvard lawyers. We've never worked for The Intercept. I was never Bernie Sanders' press secretary. And these are the kind of numbers that we'd like to be doing in the next couple of years. How humiliating for her star to fall. Let's go ahead and look at what popular numbers used to look like for her, guys. 305,000, 186,000, 168,000. All of these 100K. She's able to manufacture that content. Not anymore, pal. Now it's over. Now it's no good. People are done. And so what do you want to do? You want to go eat from the trough of Jimmy, right? And that's what she's kind of been teeing herself up for the past couple of months. This is a shameful new low, but this is a Vanguard. We'll call it spade a spade.
Yep. Again, and I really want to know. Like, I don't quite understand. I mean, other than the obvious theory you just posited, Zach, which is almost certainly the correct theory and exactly what's happening. Why is Jimmy Dore the only one who's allowed to criticize third-party movements? Because, like, Briahna, she says we've been such a disappointment, but Jimmy hasn't. Like, unironically, is Jimmy not a disappointment for shitting on Jill Stein a year before we ever criticize the Green Party? Like, he's the only one that's allowed to do it. And not even for legitimate reasons, by the way. Zach and I have been making respectful criticisms of the Green Party as people who have participated in and advocated for the third party movement for the entirety of our channel's history, guys. And guess what? We have some notes. We have some freaking notes for you guys because it's a mess. And we've seen it from inside the belly of the beast. And we can see that it's not working. And we have some notes about why it might not be working and how it could potentially become more serious in the future. That's our criticism. And that's apparently what's so disappointing. But what's not disappointing is someone going out here for, almost a year now and smearing Jill Stein, saying that her campaign has been infiltrated by Peter Dow, saying that, she's not all in on your anti-vax bullshit this anti-vax grift. Therefore, we shouldn't take Jill Stein seriously. A medical doctor, Jill Stein, you're going to make the case that she's not, she doesn't know what's going on when it comes to vaccines.
Well, she's bought by Big Pharma, Gavin.
Yeah, exactly. So those are all fine. Those are all totally legitimate criticisms to make, even though they're totally obviously from a right-wing perspective. And even though Jimmy Dore is now a Trump supporter, a total mask-off MAGA cultist, that's all fine and dandy. It's not disappointing at all. It's totally excusable. Why is that? Because Jimmy Dore has over 1 million subscribers. Why is that? Because Jimmy Dore is in bed with the people who own Rumble and who could get you a show on Rumble and who can get you paid. And guess what we are? We're a little nothing podcast that just hit 40,000 subscribers. We're actually independent. How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? We're actually independent. We don't take a goddamn money from any sponsor, let alone any billionaires like Jimmy Dore who works for Rumble, where you clearly want a job. We're actually independent. We are viewer funded. We say what we think. We say what we believe, regardless of whether it triggers our chat, regardless of whether it triggers Karens like you. So fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's hilarious though. The only downside is that we defended Briahna for so long because I genuinely.
That's why I'm so pissed. We defended you when it was unpopular to do so. We gave you the benefit of the doubt. We said you're a good leftist, that you're, all this stuff. And then we pierce your stupid echo chamber bubble, and all of a sudden, oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
No, dude, that was the most like haughty, self-righteous shit. It's like, bro, your career's in the toilet. Why don't you look in the mirror? I'm a bartender. I know what the fuck I am. Why don't you remind yourself who the fuck you are? And that's a person who has destroyed their reputation. Okay, like, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, you think you could be mean to me? I know who the fuck I am. I log off and I go hang out with my friends. Right? You go out there and you think about how you can poach right wingers on the internet so you can pretend you still have clout.